everybody, and welcome to Nerdsplaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, my co-host, Jose Romero.
Happy Nerd Day to you, Eric, and to everyone out there. Happy belated Father's Day to you as well.
Well, thank you, sir, and
That
happy
just
belated
passed.
Stepfather's Day to you.
I appreciate that. Even nerds can have kids. Look at that.
Absolutely, we know all the tropes. We've seen them in the
We've
comics. Like this is
seen
how
them
you
all. This is how you teach the children to avoid
you
such
you
tropes.
you pine for a girl for 60 years, and hopefully, in the multiverse, there's a version of you that gets it right. That's how you do it. See.
Well, an MCU is one version. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not even getting into all that. Nah, no multiverse talk. Yeah, there's plenty of the MCU talk, and there's plenty. There's a big week in terms of we got a lot of like nuggets everywhere from the big three, well, big four really. Sony, DC, MCU, and Star Wars.
Yeah,
we got to put Star Wars in there. So yeah, let's get into it. It's funny because out of the four I just mentioned, I think the ones who I never thought would ever say this, but the one in best position right now is Sony. Given everything that's been going on,
but we'll see.
Just based on everything going on, whatever. Just who's looking good right now. I'm not saying in a year now, but just at this current moment as we speak, it's looking the best. They all have issues right now.
Sure.
Sony's the one looking pretty good, obviously because Spider-Verse and all that, and also because they know how to make good decisions, very good decisions, such as Bad Bunny no longer gonna be involved in whatever they were gonna be involve him in with, of course, El Muerto, of course, based off the luchador.
El Muerto is El Muerte. That's
it's a rap. Sony, well, I mean, it's not overstated. They haven't come out and said it was no longer development or they're not going to do it. They just took it off the release schedule, which usually means it ain't going to get released. Because usually if they change it, they're going to say, we're delaying it or whatever. They just took it off the schedule.
They took it off the schedule and they put it in the garbage. That's what they did.
Which is,
right there.
Again, a good decision. Because listen, I wouldn't mind seeing the character El Muerto. I'm fine with that. But it's not up there with like characters that they could use from. Let's be honest.
Right.
And it's Latino, so I'll push for it. Don't get me wrong. But
if you're gonna do something like that character, like for example, the only reason I was remotely interested in hearing about a Hypno Hustler movie is the idea that Donald Glover, listen, whatever it's gonna be, it is fun to watch, and so I'll take it. Like there was nothing that was like, you mean Bad Bunny's gonna be in it? Well, the soundtrack's gonna be fire, but the movie's gonna be garbage. So no, I'm not gonna.
I mean, sometimes cooler heads prevail, right? I mean, come on, Bad Bunny, come on, bro, seriously. I mean, there's tons of actors of the Latino persuasion. I'm sure would like to be in his role and would like to see in his role. He's not one of them. I'm sorry, I'm not a Bad Bunny guy. Close. I get the music, I get it. I'm not hating on him, but come on, bro, let's stop. So a good decision. I applaud Sony for the restraint here, right? Other studios could learn from that. You make a decision, you think about it.
What if
like one of the twins? Another bad decision.
What if just crazy? What if it was just Bad Bunny was like, you know what? No, like maybe he's one was like,
maybe
I just realized that if I was making this movie, it would take away from me just being able to get laid at any moment's notice. That's a lot on my plate.
That's a consideration. So, although I don't think that would happen with him. I mean, not at this stage of his career. I mean, he's still. I mean, he's Bad Bunny, right? He's top dogs in music. I get it. He's tons of money. Good for him. Congrats, no doubt.
Yeah.
But
Mazel tov, homie. Yeah, whatever.
But fine. Stop. Thank you, Sony. I applaud you. I do. That restraint, I love it because not a bad idea. Even from the beginning, we talked about it. I thought it was a bad idea. I was like, anybody else cast for this, I would have been okay with it, but just not him.
We would have had to report it as the most like factual NPR, and Bad Bunny did a movie. I don't want to say my opinions because this is a Latin nerd network, and
that's true. Like I want to support him, I do, but I mean, I also don't want to make us look bad either. We got to protect our image, right? Bad Bunny would have brought us down as a group, as a society, as a culture. So good thing because I appreciate it.
There are other Hispanic actors out there who are proving themselves, even in bad movies. They're like, I'm actually standing out a little bit.
Fair. Go ahead. No,
Well, I was going to. It kind of goes into one of the stories. I'm not sure if you're going to bring up that story or not about who's in talks
Oh,
on DC side.
yeah, we'll bring that up. We'll bring that up in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, we'll definitely circle back on that. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that little nugget coming up. But I want to stay with Sony because now I don't know if this next one's going to be a good decision or not. That remains to be seen.
All right.
But we got Kraven coming out. We got the first trailer for Kraven finally coming out this October. Aaron Taylor Johnson, kick ass, and who's in Godzilla?
Age of Ultron.
He was true. He does have experience. That's a good point.
Right there, man.
I liked him in Bullet Train. That was a cool movie. I thought
Bullet Train was great.
Yeah, and he was actually pretty good in it. So I'm good for him. I like it. He's jacked. Jesus, he's big. Good for him. Yeah, I mean, Jesus, he needed to. Well, so the trailer came out, Eric. So what'd you think about this, man?
All right, so I saw the red. I didn't know that it got leaked. I just got a prompt. I was like, oh, Kraven trailer. I was like, oh, cool. And I clicked and it's red band. I was like, oh, dope. And I watched it. And can I be real with you? I'm gonna be real with you right now.
This is how we do it, man. Well, you're honesty brokers here on the show. So go ahead.
I was actually into the trailer in the beginning. Like the kid was like the Russell Crowe sort of like abusive taskmaster dad situation going on. Like mother was sick. I was like, and so I was like, oh. This is going to be like one of those like mob movies where you see how the kid is broken into this. And I was like, oh, he's like an aggressive alpha bully dude. And now the finish is you got to learn how to kill an animal if you could kill a man. And it's the whole thing. And then I saw the lion attacking him. I was like, oh, cool. Like the lion's going to leave him for this. So he has a hatred towards all animals. It's going to make him a better hunter. Or maybe they leave him for dead and the animals like nurse him back to health, like a sort of weird Disney cartoon. And so then he's taught how to be a hunter, but and then he's going to kill a lion to show you. I was like, this is going to be dope. And then
then the rest of the trailer continued.
And then the trailer. I was like, what's the silliest thing we could do right now? The lion takes a poop in his dead body. Okay, let's pull it back. What's the second silliest thing? Like, okay, what if a drop of lion's blood falls in his severe wound
ask you about
magically?
That. Yeah, that.
And I was like, what are you? And then from that point on, I was like, oh, it's a garbage movie. All about this is
that was weird.
Garbage.
I ain't gonna lie. Unless this line, I don't know. They're gonna Spider-Man this radioactive line. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I don't know what to make of that. I know that's not the true origin of comic, which is fine. It doesn't have to be the same origin, but
for a second I thought this is gonna be like a comic book version of like a history of violence kind of thing, and then it becomes like Morbius, but grounded.
Well, I'll say this: it has a leg up on Morbius because that should have been R, and this is clearly R-rated. And I did like the brutality and all. That was cool. That was cool. This movie can still be good. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
We're gonna make up for in blood. That's exactly what this is.
That's fine. Listen, supplement that with some good stuff and the shitty stuff he did with. And this, it was fine. I didn't hate it. That one scene it's just weird. I'm sure they're gonna explain it somehow, and I hope that this with context.
Look,
that whole blood makes sense. I really do.
I'll give some credit. With a movie called Kraven the Hunter, are they delivering in the violence aspect? Yes.
Yes, and that's okay. I can dig it.
Is Aaron Taylor Johnson a physically comic book accurate version of the character? Yes, he literally has the lion vest on.
That was cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But his last name is Kravinoff. That's why he's Kraven the Hunter, right?
Yeah.
His Russell Crowe is clearly doing a Russian accent of the John Wick Highest Order. Like it's there. Like
it's heavy. He was just in the movie the Pope's Exorcist.
The Pope's Exorcist. He did Italian,
right? So he's
Greek and Thor. This guy's doing all the accents.
I'm saying he's
if it's white and not offensive, I'm doing it. Here I go. I'm going. What about Asian? Ooh, couple that gets too late for that. But if he's a Romanian, I'm here.
The crow privileges, I would like to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got as long as it's white, I can do all the accents.
Do whatever you want.
Place.
Fine.
But but he's going for it with the accent. I'm like, I'm into it.
No, yeah.
And then Aaron Taylor Johnson talks like a guy who works at the Gap, and I'm like, what are you doing?
I'll say this because he was left for dead as young, so maybe the accent could have been lost. Again, I'm just. I don't
The
know.
line bit the accent out of him.
I don't. Listen. Listen. If the blood can turn you to whatever he is, then God damn it, you can take it with the accent. I don't. What am I going to tell you? I don't know.
Aaron Taylor Johnson got the ethnicity mauled out of him. That is what you're saying.
Listen, he went from Kraven to Simba, dude. I'm telling you, the world is yours. I'm telling you.
That's great.
This is gonna be an interesting movie. Listen. It's got to be better than Morbius, and I'll leave it at that. I guess.
I mean,
it can't be worse.
But Morbius is
the
bad. Floor. A lot of things.
No. You're right. It's the floor. Absolutely, yeah, without question. But it's got to be better than that. Saying. If it's not better than that, it's some serious shit.
Yeah.
But let's see. Maybe the violence and the action kind of put it over the top, right? Like if I get Venom level, I'm fine. I'm okay.
You're right. Okay if I'm getting Venom, but as the nerd in me is like, you have to be better than Venom. Just say Venom level, because you're already like, I watched Venom and those things are bothered me that weren't comic book accurate. I know this is the nerd in me, just like raging.
I get it,
but it's got to be a little better than Venom to at least hit as Venom, because Venom's little changes were not as egregious as.
I mean, if it's at least Venom, I'm okay with it, right? Like I'm,
right.
Fine. That's my expectation. If it's better, great. I don't expect it to be, but if I can get that, all right, I can live with that.
All right. I mean,
listen.
At the end of the day, most people don't feel like me, and most women can be like, Aaron Taylor Johnson has half his chest hanging out, like at 60% of the time in the movie. I'm gonna watch that movie. No, and it's going to be hot. He's going to murder a bunch of people for animals.
That might be the saving grace, is that, right? The story might suck and whatever, but he's kicking ass. At least it's something to watch.
And people are going to...
Like if Morbius has something like that, it would have been not a great film. Would have been a better film. For
a better movie, absolutely. Right. So, like I'm saying, if you think about it from a studio perspective, brilliant.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How do you make a psychopath killer likable to the most general audience? He protects animals, but he kicks ass to do it.
That's like it is. I'm saying. They're going to John Wick route, man.
Yeah, they John Wick it.
Kill anything. Just don't kill the dog. Don't kill the dog.
Animal Kingdom is Kraven's
That's
dog.
What I'm saying. Don't fuck with the dog. Nothing good happens. So we'll see. I mean, that comes out in October, so we'll see about that one. Let's go to DC now. Move on to the next one. Man, they're having issues, and let's start with the Flash, because obviously we haven't talked about we saw the finished version finally and all that, and there wasn't a whole lot of differences except for maybe the last scene that I noticed. I'm not sure if you caught something additional from the original screening aside from the ending. I don't.
There was they showed a Flash world that wasn't in the original.
Did they? Okay.
That we saw.
Okay. Okay.
They did like a little black and white, and honestly, there's like a whole debate online where no one can figure out who was playing that Jay Garrick version, which is like the Mercury helmet Flash. People thought it was like the guy who played Zoom, who pretended to be Jay Garrick from the series, but that guy said that's not me. They believe his name is Teddy Sears, and so no one knows. But besides that, and of course the big twist at the end, we get a Batman, just not the Batman anybody wanted.
Right. It's more like it's funny because they talked about they had 3 endings filmed, right? I think they had one with Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot in there, and I think they had kind of skewed it more toward they were going to have them, another ending with them, along with Sasha Calle's character, Supergirl, and
Michael Keaton. I heard of Michael Keaton and
Michael Keaton, right? Because they were going to set up Batgirl.
Right.
And all that as part of it. And then they scrapped that, and James Gunn just say, hey, okay, what can we do here? All right, George Clooney, which is fine. Again, it's just a small little scene at the end. It's not a big deal. The end credit scene was inconsequential.
I kind of feel like that ending was the equivalent of like giving the circle to your friends. You can punch them in the face. You're like, all right, I made you look. And I kind of feel like George Clooney was the made you look of that.
I mean, it was
like, you stuck around like a bunch of dummies. Like, we're going to keep this Flash. All this is stupid.
With the not keeping it. So I guess it's kind of the word saying he's in a different world. Fine. Yeah. I get that's no problem. Listen, I still like the movie. It was great. I had a great time. But damn, DC is reeling because that movie didn't open well at all. As much was
Honestly,
not as well as they thought. We made less than Black Adam for Christ's sake, and that's
I
egregious.
I think that even though financially they may be reeling up front, in a way, it is a huge relief. Like we don't have to work with Ezra Miller
Well,
anymore
in
because
terms of that, I'm sure that
like and
that page
so
has been turned.
is it a bomb? Absolutely, but that is such like, oh, thank God we don't have to be like, so we got to make a deal with a problematic is being nice.
I mean, this is. I mean, I feel bad for DC because Flash. We both really like Flash a lot, right?
It's a and this the problem with all this is that it's a good movie.
Of course,
Not great like they try to sell it,
right. The
but
greatest
it's
movie of
good.
the time, but it's really good. Shazam. I like Shazam. I thought it was good as well.
Thought Shazam was good too.
Black Adam was okay, but it wasn't a bad film. It was
It was
It was a
okay.
fun, entertaining film. But they're all just been bombing. None of them. I mean, I and I don't know if because I think it's a combination of a lot of things. DC's just in a really bad position. No one cares anymore. They have no credit with anybody. These movies. I mean,
They burned a lot of goodwill
they
bridges.
did. I don't know how much the casual fan knows about Ezra Miller. I'm sure that's had an issue. I'm sure some did, and that's fine. But or if they know DC's changing, I don't know. Like I don't know what the
I
casual
don't know
fan
if
knows
they
or
think.
don't know.
I don't know. I think they have a better chance of knowing about all the nonsense Ezra Miller was doing versus them knowing that DC is changing.
Right. So I guess because Shazam bombed like big time. This one bombed, but not to that degree.
Right.
Black Adam didn't quite. I think it just maybe lost some money, so it wasn't a
No,
successful
it
movie.
lost money. It was a bomb. It was a bomb.
Not a
But
major bomb, but it didn't do well. It bombed.
not a major bomb, but
Right.
well,
This was
listen,
probably gonna make the same
yes.
as that. So and this costs more, so this will be a bomb. They're just in a bad spot, and I feel bad because listen, Blue Beetle's coming out. We'll talk about it in a second, but like I said before, that movie's not gonna do well. It's not. And now forget it. Aquaman. I don't think that's gonna do well at all.
Honestly, I think Blue Beetle will do better than Flash.
No, I think
I
I
think
think
so.
Blue Beetle opens like in the 20s,
I
maybe at 30, maybe it may be more financially viable because it's less expensive. But in terms of just pure box office number, the raw number, there's not even it's not sniffing Flash, and that's
I don't
not
think it's gonna. I
it's,
don't think it's gonna be $1 billion movie. I think it's
that
gonna be
movie will
better
make
than Flash.
that movie's gonna open at 2020s in the 20s, maybe
I think
30s,
it's. I think it's gonna
maybe.
open mid 30s or closer to 40.
Yeah, but Flash opened 55, so it's not even close to Flash.
Well, I'm talking in longevity. Like it'll stay
Not
in the theater longer. It'll be.
it'll go away. I just DC's got no momentum, and even and Marvel too. This is I think I don't know if it's part of it might be just DC because it's where it's at, and I get all that right, and positioning and changing, CEOs and all the directions going somewhere. Fine. I think I don't want to go as far as to say it's superhero fatigue. We've been hearing that for years, right?
But I disagree because you have Guardians and Spider-Man that already disproved that.
Yes and no, because Guardians 3 won't make as much as Guardian 2. Or make just about the same. That's not good, right? It still did well, but you want every sequel to surpass the previous version always, right? And 3 was it's better than 2. I don't think there's any argument there.
Right.
And it's going to make it around the same, maybe a little bit less, right? We talked about Black Panther making 700 million less. That's a huge dip. Thor underperformed, making less than Ragnarok, right? Now it's sort of in a downtrend trajectory. Doctor Strange did okay, wasn't a huge fan. Spider-Man's his own thing, fair enough. I don't know. I just think it's not superhero fatigue. People are just tired. I think after you get so many movies and DC and Marvel combined, people get tired of this shit. And there's nothing new coming. They're not giving us anything new, right? The casual fan is going to get bored. We've seen this already, right? We know the big third act is going to be like, and as I'm saying, it's not just DC. It's all down. Spider-Verse did very well, but it didn't. It's not going to make $1 billion. Now you're going to make maybe 600, which is a good number, but not overwhelming big as other films we have. I just don't know. I think people are just getting tired of average. We're getting tired of average, which is what we're getting.
Well, I mean, clearly, yeah.
Right?
I mean,
and that's what we're getting. But I think when MCU first came out, a lot of those movies weren't like great either. They weren't like this. Not oversell what MCU did early on. The first four or five films were okay, but it was new, fresh.
they were fun.
Right, it was
They were
fun, and
fun.
we hadn't seen that before to that degree.
Right.
We got a few Batmans, it's sporadic. Now we're getting to what's plateauing. And that's what when I'm talking about superhero fatigue, for me, that's what that means. It's just kind of plateauing where we're so used to it now. People are like, we're getting 4 or 5 of these movies a year.
Right.
They all kind of, if you're a casual fan, they all kind of blend in. Nobody wants to
Mhm.
see 800 movies to understand the next movie or watch all these TV shows. It's hard, man. That's a lot. And I think they're all suffering. They're all suffering. MCU is not doing as well as it once was, right? It's still doing
Right.
way better than DC, obviously, but
Sure.
not to the level, right? It's gone. It's
Right.
dipped in quality and financially. I don't know. I just kind of think people just maybe getting tired. I don't know. It's hard to say. Time will tell. If this trend continues, I don't know, because I don't think Aquaman's not gonna do well. Neither is Black Beetle and all that. Even when we finally get Superman, I don't think that's gonna do well either.
Really?
I don't think it's gonna do. I think it's gonna take time for DC to build that credit up, man. I really do. Because the casual fan doesn't know. They know who James Gunn is for the most part, right? They're gonna see, another
Right.
DC movie. You know what I'm saying? It's just like people didn't see Flash because it was terrible because they just didn't want to see it. They didn't want to see Shazam.
Well, I think it's
What Shazam, right? What Shazam was very, very well received by the audience and the critics, right? It did okay.
right.
And here comes the second
But
one.
Shazam also had like they did zero marketing compared to Shazam 1.
But they did enough to like listen because that. I mean, it's a humongous bomb. I mean, I don't. If you tell me Shazam opened at 50 and then part 2 opened at 40, okay. But they should open like in the 20s or 30s at best, right? And then after
Right.
that took a huge dip. Like nobody went
Huge
to go
dip.
see it, right? No one.
Because that was nothing. It was like, okay, yeah,
That's what I'm
just
saying. It's like it's just not. And people liked the first one,
Right.
So I
It
feel
was
the
fun.
second one's gonna do
Right.
better, right? It doesn't have to do worlds better, but it doesn't. Nobody wants to go see DC anymore. It's unfortunate, but it's much of it's their fault. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
But I think there is something to say about. I think just the industry as a whole, with terms of the superhero films, just they lost its magic. How that?
Yeah.
They lost their luster, right?
Yeah.
They're no longer. People are still gonna go watch them. Obviously, they're gonna make good money. Obviously, but maybe it's time to lower down those budgets.
And let's stop making world-ending events and let's do some personal,
Right,
like
smaller
that.
films.
If you think about it, one of the best things about action movies in the 80s and 90s was it was just one man, one mission. They were very almost Punisher-esque, where you kept it very much like, I'm going after this gangster, I'm going after this politician. Like, so focus on the street level villains and characters like that. Like, let's see the
Yeah, I
Daredevil.
think it's time to maybe ground some of this stuff. I think you're absolutely right. Like all these movies, Guardians, they all do the same. They all the big spectacles. Ant-Man, right? Ant-Man underperformed. Ant-Man was a bomb too. I forgot to mention that. But I mean, they're all CG. The third act's all huge, and I think people just you get numb to that after a while. Coming back to something a little bit small, I think maybe you're right. No more ground level, which is why Batman was the only one to really succeed, right? For DC anyway. Let me make that clear. As far as do well, they didn't hit that wall.
And the Joker.
And the Joker, right? And those are grounded films.
And Joker made like $1 billion.
Yeah, man, exactly, huge. I mean, I know it's not part of DCU or whatever. I get it,
Right, but still, it does count, right?
It counts.
So,
but those are ground level films for the most part, right? I think we need to go back to that more.
Think of it this way, and I liked this series, but let me just pitch an idea. Like, you tell me what sounds more appealing to you as a viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Moon Knight as is on Disney Plus, right? Or what if you did Moon Knight in the same, maybe not in the violence level, but it's the same sort of like mental instability, intenseness of the Joker.
That would have been, for me, more interesting, the Joker. For me.
Right?
Right. Something different, right? Something unique.
So,
because I mean, you're right. You get these are becoming dime a dozen. These comic book hero movies, right? And we love to watch them. Of course, we'll talk about it. But let's be honest, they're normal now. It's not special.
right.
Something like that, like a Joker that was really kind of programming to what we used to seeing from these kind of films, and that popped off. I mean,
because that's the thing. It's not that it's a super fatigue. It is
right.
It is a stance against just like you said, mediocrity. Sort of like it's this big. It's the big light.
Quo.
It's the big blue light in the sky.
Exactly, status quo. You get it.
Right.
The same show.
You got to give us new stuff. Like either be really funny or be scary or be intense.
Something.
But
it's just
we'll watch. All you want to watch is someone who looks cool kick ass. That's what we want to see. Yeah. But we want to see kicking ass in all kinds of versions. Like show us a superhero. Like Marvel didn't do it, but like how great would it be to see a superhero deal with alcoholism and like having to like, and that would be you could make that movie, and it could be you don't have to do the Iron Man.
Yeah.
Now at the time, you could do any
Oh no,
superhero
I agree.
go through that.
Yeah, and I don't think every movie has to be that. But you
No,
have,
no, but I'm not
but you
saying every
have no,
movie,
but you
but
have to
like
throw them like a Logan, right? Yeah, every
that's
time,
right. You got to
and
do
notice
that.
every time we get one of these one-offs, those are the ones that kind of pop off, and those are the ones we remember more than the other ones, right? They become
Or
they separate from
or
the pack,
Deadpool.
right?
Deadpool is a completely different
Deadpool
superhero, and
completely, yeah,
it we're like
right.
that's
It
awesome.
pops off, and we need more of that and less of the standard. And I know not every movie can be that, but they gotta mix it up. And I think
But
it goes back for me, the MCU just doing the same kind of thing. And if they branch out, do more Elseworld stuff or whatever, that may help them get over that stagnant that they're in. I think they're just
right,
stagnant, right? Yes,
sure.
they have a lack of direction problem right now and all that. I get it, but that's an issue. But I mean, let's see. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I hope it changes. But I got to think DC's got a long road to kind of get back to where they should be, or what we think they should be. But that being said, stay on Flash because you alluded to earlier with fucking Latinos and Latinas in this case with Sasha Calle, who they had an interview with her, and she actually had a meeting with the DC studios for potential future role. I would assume as Supergirl, which
Can I
yeah, go ahead.
can I tell you? I don't want her to. I saw what she was so good. I don't want her to be Supergirl.
Really? Okay.
There,
Wow.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
There's a character in the DC universe. Her name is Jessica Cruz, and she's a Green Lantern.
Okay.
I want her to be Jessica Cruz Green Lantern. That would be so dope. Because think about like when I saw her fighting Zod and she was putting that intensity, I just imagined her like going crazy with the ring, and I was like, oh, that would be so. If you're on talks to DC, dope. If you get Supergirl, keep awesome.
You know what? I think I don't even think about that angle, but you're right. I mean, who's to say it is Supergirl? And you're probably right. Maybe better keeping her in a stable of DC and putting her something else. What's the one coming out after Superman? The one with all the villains or whatever. Like, what's the
Creature Commandos?
Yeah, is there like a female character in there or?
There's a couple of them, but I don't think she. I would like to see it as Jessica Cruz.
I mean, I'd like to see her period, right? I mean, if you're gonna if you're not gonna be Supergirl, I liked her. She was really good. She was really good.
She owned the screen.
She looked the part.
She was great at all her moments.
Yeah.
Like when she was weak, you believe she was weak. When she was strong, you believe she was strong. And when she was like in rage, you were right there. Like, and she had what, maybe 15, 18 minutes of screen time?
Probably, I'd say at best 25. At best, I'm
joking, right?
And
she was right there with Keaton and Miller. And we said it before. Say what you will, Ezra. That dude, that they acted.
No, they were
that
great.
person can act.
They're really good. Yeah, Ezra was really good. No doubt. Separating the art from the artist, and I get all that. She was great, and yeah, the physicality she had, that looked and. Yeah, so whether it's either Supergirl, that's fine. I mean, if it is, I have no problem with that because she was great in it. But you're right, man. Keep her in the stable and put her in something else. Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's a Green Lantern TV series coming up.
True.
You can introduce her in that, and that would be dope.
That'd be kind of cool. And that, everybody went. I think that's a good idea. So you're right. I never even thought about that angle. So good call with that. So let's see. But yeah, so she had a meeting. So that's a plus. Keep the talent. Right,
absolutely.
Talent, right.
Muccieri on Batman,
right?
You
get someone good, keep her, and do for something else. Absolutely, because she was really good. She was, it's really. I think this might put her on the map, right? Because she was pretty.
Yeah, I think so too.
No doubt about it. I wish more people would have seen her. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Speaking of Blue Beetle, that's the last DC thing here, because we talked about last week where James Gunn practically, he's confirmed that yes, Blue Beetle is going to be a character in this new DCU, right? Not the film itself, just. The character, the first movie will be Superman Legacy. They had an interview with the director, and the guy who Cobra Kai.
Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, but and also the actor Blue Beetle who plays the kid
who plays Jaime Reyes. He's from Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Mari Dueñas is the last name. I forgot the first name.
Right.
Either way, but they were talking about that they actually mentioning being part of the DCU, which we knew, so they're kind of echoing what he said, which is cool, I guess. But they also said these movies were designed as a trilogy, which is interesting because I don't think that's ever going to happen. Honestly, I really don't. Not that I don't want to see it, but when I'm thinking, I mean, just speculating, conjecture, but I'm thinking, he's going to keep the character of Blue Beetle, not necessarily what happens in the film, whatever story behind the film or whatever trilogy, because they talked about this was like the first act out of 3, right? The planned trilogy. It's not gonna happen. Number one, this movie's not gonna do well. I'll say it right now, it's gonna bomb.
We just had this talk.
And exactly. And 2, I think maybe they just wish, for me, that's wishful thinking. I'd be shocked if this stays as a trilogy.
I'll give you an example. Keep it in DC. I'll give you a great example. One of the problems that I had with the Flash movie, and I think we may have talked about this, is they solved the problem of Barry Allen learning to let go of his mom's death and accept it as part of him, so he can be who he needs to be. But he never bothered figuring out who killed his mom in the first place. He's, don't worry about it. She's dead.
They could have just stopped that.
She's dead. So, and they talked to Muschietti about it, and he's like, well, that was going to be for the sequel. We're going to deal with the death. Introduce. Gotcha. In the comics, it's the Reverse Flash who killed Barry Allen's mom to just really stick it to him, because growing up in the 50s all the way to when I got into comics in the 80s, Barry Allen was A, dead, but B, he was a perfectly healthy, normal. So when they brought him back, they included the fact that his mom died, his dad's in jail. That was all stuff to make him more interesting, which granted, it does make him more interesting. But in the comics, they then revealed that it was the Reverse Flash that did it. Mm-hmm. And Muschietti is like, oh, well, we're going to do it for the sequel. That's why we didn't touch on it too much. And I'm thinking...
Which is fair, but no.
I almost feel like, no, it's not fair, because this is how you keep things from becoming mediocre. You don't go in with when we make the trilogy, you got to go, we got to knock it out of this one.
Agreed.
And hope to get the sequel.
And I think a lot of studios do that now, unfortunately, right? They're thinking franchise, push ahead, and just give us a good fucking movie, and let's worry about the sequel later, right? If it's good, fine, whatever, but it happens all the time. But this is not getting a trilogy. It's not. I mean, the character will continue. I don't doubt that. I mean, James Gunn said it, so obviously it's going to come to fruition. But yeah, really? Unless, listen, by some miracle, this movie is a huge success. Fine, and I'm wrong. Great, and maybe.
Listen, I always like the episodes where I prove you're right, and I've lost count because it's so many. But the important thing is that I'm looking forward to seeing adding this future episode to the collection of Blue Beetle succeeding. And
we'll run 2 stories that day: the success, the humongous box office opening, and James Gunn moving on from the Star Wars war. Which that story's remain.
By the way, I find it ironic that you're downplaying Blue Beetle, but you're the one wearing a blue T-shirt. I feel like you are sending mixed signals.
To be fair, look, it says Marvel. I'm rooting for Blue Beetle. I'm rooting for it. I just got to be realistic. It's just not. It's not gonna happen. And listen, it's an August release. I mean that spells
a lot of things can happen.
That's historically speaking, August is like a dumping ground for films, and that in January. It's just how it is. So whatever. I hope I'm wrong. I really am. I want to see this movie do well. I mean, as long as it's good. And I haven't seen it yet, obviously.
Sure, of course.
If it sucks, then kiss my ass. But if it's great, whatever. So let's see. Star Wars. Always good to talk about Star Wars. Sometimes, maybe not.
Sometimes it's always good. Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's not. We're gonna get a little good and bad. So the good. Okay. Dave Filoni, of course, was running the show for the most part. I guess he had spoken to Rosario Dawson, did an interview, and she came out and said that he basically told her, yes, this is the Ahsoka series coming out soon. Disney Plus will be basically Rebels season 5, right? Which
is awesome.
Which is cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
If you're a Rebels fan, the only negative is I don't think everybody saw Rebels. So I hope they don't get too deep into the weeds with that connection, because people may be lost. I don't know. The casual fan may not.
I feel like this is one of those plant statements. You mean to tell me only after pre-production, production, post-production, about to start the marketing campaign, now is when she found out it's season 5? I'm like, really? Now is when you figured it out? It was all put together.
That's what my God. I knew it. They should just call it Rebels season 5, but
I feel like they knew what they were doing, and they're slowly soft. And just to put the icing on top, because they've been selling to the casual fans like, no, it's totally independent, but it's minor references. And now just to put the extra, like, it's totally season 5.
It doesn't season 5. I hope it's not too deep, because I mean, listen, for me, I'm fine because I've seen Rebels and you've seen Rebels, and that's great. But even like the diehard Star Wars fans, they don't all watch the animated stuff, but they don't, right? And I'm sure Rebels is part of that. So if this show sucks, I don't care. But if it's good, I don't want the negativity to be because they don't know what the hell's going on, because it's continuing a story that I'm unfamiliar with.
Right.
Right. So I hope they do it in the right way. I'm sure they do, hopefully. But that's cool. At least now it's confirmed. Because when you saw the trailer, it's like, dude, everyone from Rebels is in this for the most part.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, it's a prequel. Like, we know a timeline. Right? We assume it's after all that, but we didn't know. I mean, this could be a backstory of Ahsoka or something. I don't know.
Well, right, because Ahsoka shows up as the gray or the white,
right?
And at the end of the thing, so we're like, did she go white and then she went gray? Did she went gray then white?
Right,
What is she? Gandalf?
exactly.
Is she? Yeah. Who knows? And that's just one aspect of a whole big story. We saw the painting, but we also saw a hologram of Ezra, but he's clearly older than he was when he was in the series. Yeah. Well, so I was like, there's a lot of like, what are we doing here? Yeah. And I'm willing to go along with the ride. Right. Or suspend disbelief to get to where I want to go to, but just make it fun to do. Don't make it arduous, and don't get too much in the woods that people are like, well, I don't know what any
right.
of this.
So referencing a bunch of stuff, and I'll know what's going on. That's great, but I think you and I will be a minority, I would assume, even among Star Wars fans, because I know it's not like everybody watched Rebels or that was like highly rated show or anything like that. But
I will say,
good show.
I like movies when they reference things,
sure.
even if it doesn't exist. But it doesn't feel forced. Like, think about A New Hope. They reference the Clone Wars in A New Hope. And they reference a Galactic Senate, which you've never seen. And we know what the hell the Clone Wars are. But that was the end of the references. It was one here and one there.
Move on, right?
And move on.
Tell a story. I'm hoping
just act.
Focus.
Yeah. Focus. Just act like you know what this is. And people will go, is there that? You go, there is. Oh, when are we going to find out about that?
Right, exactly.
Ooh, now I'm building anticipation.
Mention it, don't rely on it at the end of the day, right? And that's the key. So, I don't have great confidence that they can do that just because, not just Star Wars in general, but let's see. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. The trailer looked great, so I am looking forward to it.
And you know what? Give credit where credit's due. The first 2 years or the 2 phases of Marvel movies, they did a really good job of mention it and move on. They threw a lot of stuff out that just build. Like, was that Wakanda on the map? Don't worry about it. Here we go. And I was like, that was cool.
Yeah, Easter egg kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Those
and so either verbal or but like
visual.
But don't give us 8 million. Give us 2, maybe 3. And then that's it. Just enough to get, and the rest is movie. Make that movie work.
Exactly.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah. So hopefully they can do that. So it's good news, but it could be a potential pitfall. This next one here, man. God, and I talked about this when we announced it. So Disney has clarified as far as they announced 2 films to be released in 2026. Unknown titles. They've confirmed, yes. You had an idea which the 2 they're going to be, but not what order. The one coming in May, I believe, 2026, is going to be the Rey film. The one with Rey, of course, from the last trilogy. Which going back to the well, going back to a shitty well. I mean, we're going back to shit well.
I mean, at least it's not in the original trilogy. We're going future. At least just that.
Yes, but still with characters we've already known and really don't care about for the most
part. Well, I think only one. I mean, I don't even know how many characters we really. I know one for sure.
But at least look, we're getting Rey Skywalker.
I mean, clearly
that didn't end.
They even said that she's going to be a supporting character. It's not going to be about her journey. It's just a supporting character.
We do have a synopsis, right? Which is they released a synopsis. So that's one of the films coming out. We know it's going to be May 2026. So we have here set roughly 15 years after Rey's victory over Palpatine at the end of yada yada yada. The sequel delves into Rey's courageous endeavor, love the wording, to restore the Jedi Order, where she assumes the role of a mentor of 2 promising young students, a girl and a boy. Also, as her training progresses, it becomes evident that the girl possesses extraordinary abilities destined to emerge as a future leader. So that's a brief synopsis on there. And people are going to jump all over it. Oh, of course, the female. I can hear it already. Right there. The agenda. People talking about Rey. Why is Rey being...
Well, listen, it depends what you're talking about agenda, because we're going to find out exactly where Rey's planet is located. Because it's a school, they have to find out what gender she is so she can compete to be a Jedi. That is problematic.
They could have just done agenda neutral. What kind of agenda neutral
Jedi?
Get
out!
It can't be a gender neutral Jedi, dude. Come on.
Listen, I know all the complaints. And listen, whenever
it's gonna come out, we're gonna hear it. I'm telling you, we're gonna hear from all
whenever
sides.
I hear complaints like this, I'm always like, homie, like I got into comic books in the '80s, and I have seen every version of dude gets powers. So if now they're like, oh, now we're gonna do more girl gets powers. Yeah, okay, cool. Just make it cool,
But
man.
you know it's
Ahsoka
gonna
is
happen, and
dope.
you know it's
I'm
a
cool with that. Just make it
yeah.
cool. Captain Carter is dope. Make it cool. As long as you're cool, I'm gonna. Dr. Aphra is dope. As long as you're cool,
As long
I'm
as
gonna
it's
be down for that.
good, but you know you're gonna hear it. You know you're gonna hear the cry.
Oh,
But
I
that's
know. But I'm just like,
but you
and
know,
I'm like, can we?
neither,
I've experienced 40 years of
of
this.
course. Look,
So
neither here
is
nor
this not
there.
enough for you?
But point is, listen. I don't want to see a Ray. I mean, again, it's coming off a very terrible trilogy, right? As a trilogy, the last
What
movie
if?
was terrible. The whole
What if? Wait. I'm just like I pitched you Joker meets Moon Knight, which the more I think about it, sounds awesome. Uh, what if they did a twist on it, which is the girl becomes more powerful, right? But
I assume, yeah.
she gets swayed by the dark side because she's so powerful, and then she becomes the big bad. She becomes the Kylo Ren, and
Yeah,
then the
but
boy has to.
I'll say this right now.
All
Of
right.
course, that's exactly what's gonna happen. Which I
I
don't
mean,
like. It's so obvious. That's exactly what's gonna happen. It really is. This I don't know. It's nothing to
but if
offer.
you're listen,
I
if
don't
you're
want to
gonna
see
do
like. I just again we're sticking with the same because it's a new. It's not the original trilogy, but it's still part of the timeline. It's still a Skywalker involved with the same
well, no,
storyline.
it's a
Oh,
Palpatine.
Palpatine. Well, didn't you call herself Ray Skywalker at the end or
Oh,
something?
listen, I know she identifies as a Skywalker, but
Hey,
I'm
you gotta
definitely her
respect their
Palpatine.
identity. They gotta respect what. Or they identify as. Am I saying that right? Them. I don't know what the fuck these days. Either way, she does mention utter the words Ray Skywalker. So, but again, same lineage. We're not getting away from this. It's just I don't want to see get. Can we get away from this, please? And it's only 15 years in the future. Can we go like 500 years? We're getting the one that goes back with James Mangold for now. Great, right? But this is just
What ooh, here's a good one. Ray's teaching of his boy and girl who are like the first and second place students, but the girl clearly outpaces the boy, and then some other force user shows up and just kills Ray in front of these kids' eyes, and then they're like they escape, but like we need to be trained to fight this guy because we are no train. So like she's strong, but he's smarter about it. But they got to train each other. They need to, and that's when they meet Jedi Knight Grogu, and that Grogu completes their training, and as a team, they take down the thing. And Grogu is then forced into a position of training where he and his Jedi Council starts with Finn. Oh, he's been training Finn the whole time. He's a show character in the end that helped turn the tide of battle. And then those four Jedi beat the Force user, and then they start the new Jedi Council. I just made the movie better and not doing the Of Course version. Boom.
If Moon Knight, I'm sorry, if Oscar Isaac Finn shows up, he better be as Moon Knight. Now we got a movie. Otherwise, I don't want to see Finn. I don't want to see.
It would only make the movie better.
Put in Moon Knight in, and now we can have a conversation about
Moon Knight jumps out of the X-wing, owns everybody.
Come on, man.
Done.
Little crossover.
And he summons Kaiju Khonshu to come down and stop. It's not the Death Star.
Everybody
it's the
wins.
Death Prism. Crushes it. Dude, we just saved Disney. You're welcome.
Oh my god. So stay tuned on news on this. Let's go to DCU. End up with the MCU, right? When I end up with Secret Invasion at the end of the show here. But this is interesting because I can't say I'm surprised, but it's official. Marvel will not be attending Comic-Con at Hall H, and I hear DC won't be either, but maybe they still do. But let's be honest. What were they gonna do at Hall H anyway this year? Right.
Well, everyone was hoping it was going to be Fantastic Four. That's what we're hoping.
Obviously not, because that got pushed back. That's not going to happen. They may wait to E23 next year or something. But what do they have to show? There's nothing. I mean, listen. And the last thing we want to do is field questions about Jonathan Majors or the other guy.
Right.
Right. Like, oh, hey, So I get it, and they're a mess right now. MCU is a mess. They don't know what the hell's going on. It delays in his movies.
Can I tell you that I was so surprised watching Secret Invasion, and Alexandra Alonso was there, and I was like, "Oh, wait, she's not." But this was the last one she did. Oh, this was the bloody handprint on the. Yeah, like that's. I was like, wow, crazy. Like just because I was like, so is this? Not, I was very much on the fence when I saw that because I don't know. And I was like, you're right. They had nothing to show for it. And the only thing that's come out recently is more of their complicated past, having
Right.
to let go of her
Yeah.
and addressing the failures.
It's a mess. They're a
It's
mess right now. They're in DC territory for the most part, right? You know, it's just it's all over the place. So you know what? Take a break. Don't give us anything holidays. Not gonna give us anything anyway. We know what's coming out anyway, right? What surprises other than casting? DC same thing. Why would DC go? What are you gonna tell us? The next movie's not coming out 2025 for Christ's sake. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe if they come out, maybe make announcements as to the casting. Okay, I guess, right? Superman casting, maybe Batman,
what if their
Raven
announcement
the
is
Bold. I don't know.
what if their announcement is we've officially fired Ezra Miller.
What?
Like that's a pretty big announcement.
Hey.
And then when they say that, the whole Hall H goes dark and the TV screen turns on and it's The Rock dressed as Black Adam goes, the hierarchy of the DC Universe's power as officially is about to
And all
change.
roads lead to the Rock, baby.
And it's all the lightning bolts of the Flash going away and the Rock's coming in. Like I'm saying,
I know.
there's an option.
Oh God, it's this is a really bad year for Comic Con. My brother's gonna go. I was like, oh, well, that sucks. Not a great year for Comic Con, but yeah,
Not a great year
I
for Comic.
get it. But yeah, again, why bring the potential issues with Jonathan Majors? Because we just learned Jonathan Majors, his court date is set in August, so it wouldn't be clear before Comic Con, right? August 3rd is the trial, which is a lot quicker than I thought the trial would be. So that's good for Marvel because
And there's reports that which is weird. There's some reports of like the evidence they have proving he's free, but it was exclusive to one venue, and then they put it out there. It was like, oh my god! But it's kind of weird. Like they have all this evidence, and New York State is still like, yeah, where to go?
yeah,
We think we can get him.
yeah. What kind of evidence? What's on both sides? We don't know, right? I'm in the middle. We'll figure out. But I mean, at least this being early, good or bad, they can then adjust based on whatever decision that gets rendered. So if he's guilty or
If
whatever,
anything, this may be a saving grace for the writer's strike as well, where everyone's like, if he is not guilty, we don't have to change like most of it.
right? Exactly.
Most of it can just stay.
I would say
And
if it's guilty, they delayed the movies, and that's fine. They can change course and figure it out. But I will say it will put a huge damper on Loki.
it would be a huge damper if he
Right,
Loki,
if he's
absolutely.
guilty in it,
Yeah.
because I mean I don't know how big a role he is in Loki. We know he's in it. They already kind of dismissed his name from the casting for obvious reasons. So if he's got a small role, I don't know. I mean, I would assume if he's guilty, I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, they're in a tough spot, right? Because
They are in a tough spot. But
again, if he's found guilty, he may be innocent. This is a moot point, but
right. I'm hoping for my own selfish nerd reasons. I'm hoping it goes a certain way for my own selfish nerd reasons, and also knowing that Jonathan Majors is not some sort of wacky abuser that would like hit a woman or like strangle a fan or like
whatever.
break into people's houses and throw stuff at them or try to groom a child. Like I'm so glad he's just a dude who's like, yeah, I date crazy people sometimes. Sorry, that would be a great place to be. But I'm selfish. I'm selfish.
This is going to be interesting to a trial, that's for sure. But yeah, so that's coming up. But either way, right? Let's move on from that nonsense. Let's get to something more real with some substance.
Let's get into some cool nonsense.
I won't go as far as it's cool, but it's something that's at least tangible. We know what's going to happen with Jonathan Majors. We have no clue. We know what's going on. That's what Secret Invasion. We know what we see, right? They gave us an episode finally, right? Samuel Jackson's back, the scrolls, yada yada yada. It's funny because this one was I'd only shown us one, but obviously the critics have seen more. The lowest rated of the TV shows from Marvel.
Really?
Yeah, which says a lot because they haven't been that great to begin with. So, and most of them say it starts off okay, then it kind of just goes down, which is par for the course for most Marvel shows, right? They start off really well, and then in the end, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Right? That's usually been the MO. But listen, we got one episode. I judge it for one episode. It's fine. It's okay. I like the tone. It's a little early. The problem with this show, for me, is that this is nothing more than a dime a dozen political thriller, spy thing we've seen 100 times on Amazon, Disney, Netflix, and all that. And then with Samuel Jackson. There's no superhero behind this, right? You can give us a genre like with Captain Winter Soldier is a great example of a spy thriller with a superhero, right? This is just a spy thriller with aliens. They got a bomb. They're gonna blow something up, and we see 1,000 times we've seen it, and there's nothing special to make this stand out from 100 shows that have come out on every other streamer, and it's fun. That's it's not a bad show. It's okay, and I want to see something more. And if this show, like everyone says, goes down towards the end, I'm even more concerned about what we're getting. It was okay. It was fine. I didn't hate it. Didn't love it. It was cool. I'll keep watching and then see what happens. What do you think?
Well, I kind of feel like the episode suffered from a certain kind of suffered to like the Kraven trailer issue, where like it was a definitive break, and then I saw that I felt like the tone, everything changed, and it was what
at what point? Curiosity. What?
I'll tell you exactly what point it was. When the beginning with Martin Freeman's character.
Right, chasing
coming in, right, and him meeting the conspiracy theorist, a Shield agent, which everyone is calling the Pepe Sylvia of Shield. So seeing him kind of going, I was like, this is really cool. I like that. I like the whole chase thing where it turns to reveal that the Martin Freeman's character is actually a Skrull. And like, oh, who does that mean? Like, when was he changed before Black Panther 1? Was he changed after he got in jail? Yeah. Like, so there's a bunch of cool questions there, which is what Secret Invasion, the comic, was about. Was like people dying, and then you realize, oh, that person isn't really dead. It was a Skrull. What does that mean? Who else is a Skrull? Where's this guy? Like, they did that with Elektra and a bunch of the characters. Really cool. Secret Invasion, Brian Michael Bendis, super dope story. But then they get to the part where they're doing that setup for the bombs in the park.
Okay.
Which is weird because it's like, this is your third act climax. Sure. And I felt like they got tired of their own storyline. They're like, oh, now we're going to do this thing here, and I'll find it, and then I'll be over here, and I was like, boom.
Yeah, status quo.
Kill. Right? And I was like, this is, you should give a shit about this. I was giving a shit about this. And then it felt like you guys got bored. And I was like, it's terror.
Yeah,
and I was like,
fair. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, and that part bummed me out because I was really into it until the climax, and I don't know what happened there. But and here's the more I thought, because I saw it a couple times to really get it in, and so Skrulls, they're aliens made of body parts, and they can turn like a flexing a muscle. They can make their body look like another person, right?
Sure.
They can even make the clothes on their body look like other clothes.
Obviously, yeah.
Because,
yeah.
Right? Okay. So we got that. So at one point, you may see a Skrull as a woman, fully dressed a certain way because body changes. Sometimes you see the woman be an old man, body changes, clothes are cool. Then you see them as a child with a ball, and they're bouncing the ball, and I'm like, how is that possible? He's bouncing body like blah, blah, like this is like my taint and my elbow and 8 of my toes. Dum, dum, like no. And then
that's a good point. I didn't see that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and then here's the other part that I was like, what is at the end the big twist, guys? Spoiler alert! The big twist is Maria Hill dies, and she gets killed by a Skrull that looks like Samuel Jackson's Fury. So she didn't know she was in danger, and he kills her. Problem is that Nick Fury in the scene has a gun, but the Skrull he's chasing has a clicker, but he also has a gun. And I'm like, did he shoot her with like a testicle? Like, what did he shoot her with? Because he didn't have a gun. That gun was something he forged, like the bouncing ball. Yeah. Like, and he's like splitting, kabang. Like, what are you shooting here? Where did that gun come from? Did the trigger become a gun? So many questions, Jose.
That's all. Yeah, it's all fair. I didn't even cast that, but you're absolutely right. And think about it, it's kind of silly now. Yeah, that's pretty mad. Well, you know,
and that's what infuriated me.
Do you think she? Well, maybe she is dead. I guess she's dead.
I think she's dead.
I know she's probably dead. I mean, it's the MCU, so I don't know. flip a coin. She may come back. I don't know. It took her
Listen,
she's at the hospital next episode in the beginning. She's alive again. I don't know.
I don't think she's as popular as
Oh
Coulson.
no, she's not.
Coulson at
She's
least
not.
got a
Yeah,
series.
no, she's not.
I don't think
she's not.
Yeah.
She's an ancillary character. It's, like that. If they meant that scene to really hit hard, that's a big fail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just because who cares about? Let's be honest, who cares about her? She's fine, but we've seen a couple bits and pieces in the Avengers here and there or whatever.
I would have liked it. I don't mind that she got killed by. I don't mind that she got killed. And I actually really like the idea. It was a scroll looking like Fury that killed her. I would have liked to seen her put up a fight. Like she took one, and she went after him, and she was still. And he had to put a couple in her to stop.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to see a Maria Hill that was just like. Fuck
maybe
you.
like when he's got the
like,
shooter, yeah, she grabs
that.
the gun, she rushes him and they have those struggle. Give something. You're right.
Right.
She deserved better.
She deserved better than one shot
agreed,
from 8 fingernails and like half a spleen. She deserves more than that.
Let me ask you because in the comics, I don't know. I'm just thinking like. I don't know for some why Star Trek came to mind, but there's I think even Picard last season, they can chip the shapeshifters or whatever. But there's ways to detect it, right, or whatever, at a genetic level. There's nothing they come up with all this time, or
eventually they do,
they don't have
because
it now. I mean, all the technology.
Well,
it's there, but
in the comics, Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, he develops a way to find scrolls, and then the scrolls figure out the way he find it, and they learn how to shapeshift and bypass detection. So he's got to create a different machine that figures out not only the original, but also the extension of every version they can do. So it's always detectable.
Okay.
In MCU, they didn't think they had to do it because they thought they were friends.
No, it's fine. I was just asking. But no, you're right. You're right. They were friends. I know they branched out and there's a rebel group of them.
If anyone would have thought about an idea, it was Nick Fury. If Nick Fury gave him pass, no one thought of that
That's
idea.
what I'm saying. Yeah, Nick Fury's not the same. Yeah, I think even that lady said it is like you were
like
used to
there's
be
something
three
off about you.
steps ahead.
And you know what? I really like the fact that he's got PTSD from the snap.
That's cool.
Exactly.
I did like that.
I like
that. Yeah.
And it was because it made me think of Iron Man 3. One of the best parts of Iron Man 3 is that he seen all those aliens freak them out.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing what it took to freak out Nick Fury was to die or in a way that he had never expected, come back and realize he had no significance on the outcome going out or coming in.
Just the cog in the machine.
Shook him. Like I love that.
That was cool.
And
I'll give credit so that was cool. And then look, there's good stuff on the show. It's just maybe it's too early. I mean, I just foresee.
I think it's too early. I think the idea. I think he's faking the limp. I think he's got a plan, but he's trying to figure out where all the pieces are.
Perhaps.
So I
would
still think that he's got a plan.
I don't know. I mean, the first episode, you want to come guns blazing. If you're gonna give us only one, then come with it.
But I also think because you're doing a slow burn spy thriller, because you don't know who to trust, you can't come in guns blazing. Their version of guns blazing was killing Maria Hill, which is why I felt like she needs to put a little bit more fight to make it.
That landed flat. As far as it
landed flat. Because I was like, she went out too easy. It should have been a way more.
There was no impact to it. It's just that it didn't quite hit. I'm sure that in the way they thought it was going to. I mean, if I'm a bigger character, then yes, right. If that was Sam Jackson getting shot and died, okay, we'll have a different discussion. But it's an ancillary character no one cares about. It's like,
here's the thing: if this, because the scrolls are super strong, right? Yeah. Like if they busted out like a park bench metal, the back leg of ripped it off, and then beamed it through her, and she got impaled, that would have been like one hit kill totally.
Yeah, obviously she couldn't really fight a one-on-one, obviously, but still,
exactly.
But he's put a fight. Hey, go down swinging.
And if it's a gun, like think of it this way: the Pepe Sylvia shield agent in the beginning when he was fighting Margaret, where he popped two in it, and he's an old dude.
Yeah, you're right.
He had to do two to stop the dude. So you don't think Maria Hill can't deserve two? At least two? At least two? She's second of S.H.I.E.L.D. At least two.
Give me some dialogue.
That's what I'm saying. Have her go down like a G. That's what I want.
I mean, listen. The show could get better, could get worse. But let's see. Again, it was solid. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is the next great show. It was fine. Let's see where it goes. I expect more of the same. I guess. At least I like the tone. I like the tone. Here's another critique I have is that I feel like they are so close to being, and I've heard this as a compliment and also as a negative, and I don't agree it as a compliment and I don't agree as a negative. It's like they're like oh, it's like Marvel's Andor, and I'm like it's close to being Andor, but it's not. Yeah, agreed.
It's
It's
not.
not.
It's
Yeah,
close.
maybe once
And it could get
they're
there.
trying to be maybe, and that they still could, but I don't.
They still could. You got 5 other
But yeah, it's
episodes.
not.
You still could.
No, it's too
I'll
soon
say,
to
and
make
I'll
that
say
kind of
this,
something make that comparison at this point.
and I'll say this is the only hope that I have for the series as a whole, and it comes from the fact that we've also seen the Marvels trailer. Samuel Jackson said in an interview recently that they asked him, "Why aren't you wearing the eye patch?"
Oh yeah, right.
And he says the eye patch is what Fury wears as a symbol of control.
Okay.
Because think of it, if everyone knew that he still had his messed up eye, they would have accounted for that instead of him that being the back door to the shield system after everything. So he likes, even that is control for him. Like every part of it is a control. With no eye patch, he has no control.
That's interesting.
And so
like
you're showing him at a point of weakness
like
or presumed weakness, and then seeing him eventually get to the point where he's back wearing the eye patch and he's back in control. That's my hope for the series. And if it gets closer to Andor feeling as he gets more control, then I'm in.
I agree. It's potential here, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah,
so
no doubt. It's just, I guess, too early to tell. One episode, that's not
like
enough.
I said, are my nitpicks forget the show forever? No. But when you think about it makes you laugh, and you're like, but you're right.
You're right.
There should be a certain level of consistency. There should be a level of basic understanding, and there should be a level of intensity. If this is a spy thriller, think of Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
What is more visceral than the scene when Cap throws his shield for the first time to catch Bucky, and Bucky catches the shield, and you feel that clang and that whole whoa, or when he hits when he hits Steve with the shield and his feet are getting moved back like that. There's that. This is some power. We need to see the visceral of this.
Yeah. And
this is a war. I want visceral.
Yeah, and like I said, Winter Soldier. I guess he's a superhero in a spy film. Here, this is just a spy movie, a spy series.
Right.
And Samuel Jackson's, he's not, he's ain't John Wick, he ain't Jack Ryan, he's jumping around. He's 80 years old, man. Let's be honest, right?
I get it.
So they have to navigate
that
pretty
But
well.
the French Connection,
true.
Gene Hackman wasn't doing that either, and the movie's amazing.
Fair.
So fair. I'm saying don't.
Like I said, it could be really good. I guess it's too early to tell. Right now, it was okay.
Right.
Some good stuff, some bad stuff is average. If you look at the numbers, and then let's see. Maybe it gets better, maybe it gets worse. I don't know, right? But it did enough to keep watching. I'm not saying don't watch it. This sucks.
No,
oh my God, it's
absolutely good enough for episode 2.
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
And
we'll talk about that next week. Yeah, for sure. And hopefully it gets better or whatever. If it gets worse, fine. I'd rather get worse sooner than later, so I don't have to waste my time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate for this to be really good, and then here goes episode 6, and they lay an egg like we've seen before with it. That I don't want to see that. If it's bad, just tell me early so I can move on. Bad batch me. Just boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this is where we're going. Okay, I'm out. I'm done. Or Titans me for that matter.
Thank you, Titans. Done.
Exactly. So let's see. But yeah, so overall it's fine. So let's see if it gets better or not. But that being said, them and the Nuggets for the week.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to always follow us on the Latin Nerd Network here on YouTube. Don't forget to watch other shows like The Watch List and Dennis's Choice and other shows coming along the way. Don't forget, if you want to listen to the original audio episodes, go to ericdasilva.com, EricDasilva. While you're there, you can listen to all the original audio episodes for free or check out my album, Adorably Offensive. If you want to follow us on social media, you can go to @Nerdsplaining Pod on Instagram and @Nerdsplaining_ on Twitter. Don't forget to check out the production of my graphic novel, Danger Squad, at dangersquad.com. Guys, we love when you ask questions. Keep responding, keep liking, keep letting us know what you want to see, and we will talk to you next week. I have been Eric Da Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Boom.